By the end of this video, you'll know why Earth may once have had two moons, why one of them disappeared, and why a tiny space rock, still shadowing us today, might be the last clue it ever existed. Sounds ridiculous? Good. Right, because for years, most scientists thought so too, until they looked closer at something that's been staring at us every night of our lives. Flip the moon over, the half you never see, and it doesn't match. We didn't even get a proper look at that side until 1959, when a Soviet probe called Luna 3 sent back the first photographs. What came back stunned people. Thinner crust and dark lava plains on our side, thick crust, almost none of those plains on the far side. Same moon, two completely different faces. Almost like it's been living a bit of a double life. There are tamer explanations. Uneven cooling, trapped heat, geology we don't fully understand. All still studied. None of them fully close the case.
But one idea is strange enough to deserve its own story. What if the far side looks different because another moon ended up there? Not destroyed, not flung off into deep space. Something stranger than either of those. And we'll get to exactly what. But before we get to what actually happened to it, we need to talk about how Earth ended up with two moons in the first place. 4.5 billion years ago, Earth was a ball of molten rock, with no oceans, no continents, and no name yet worth remembering. Then another world hit it. If you've seen my last video, the planet that died so you could exist, you already know its name. Theia. A young protoplanet roughly the size of Mars. Last time, we watched it sacrifice itself so Earth could end up with a moon at all. Turns out, Theia wasn't quite finished making history, which, if Earth had had a stock market that day, would have shut it down before it opened. The impact was catastrophic. Both worlds partially melted. Vast amounts of rock were blasted into orbit, and for a while, Earth didn't have a moon. It had a ring. Think Saturn, only made of molten rock and significantly worse for tourism. Most people assume gravity just, tidied that ring into one clean moon. It didn't. Instead of one neat lump forming immediately, thousands of chunks of molten rock were racing around Earth. Some crashed together, some shattered apart, some were flung away forever. Less like building a planet, and more like organising a family reunion during a demolition derby. Simulations suggest that chaos first produced not one moon, but dozens of small moonlets, all colliding, merging and breaking apart until, eventually, only two significant moons remained. One large, one small. For a brief window in Earth's history, two moons shared our sky. That's not the strange part. The strange part is what happened next. You'd expect two moons that close together to eventually collide, violently. Gravity never stops working. Every orbit nudges the next one, just slightly. Over millions of years, those tiny nudges compound until the smaller moon's path started crossing the larger ones. Space has a reputation for being peaceful, mostly because all the arguments take a few million years to finish. Now, scientists don't think the second moon exploded. They don't think it wandered off into deep space, and there's no evidence it crashed directly into Earth. So, what happened? Did the sun steal it? Did another planet's gravity pull it away? Or is it possible we've been looking at the answer every single night without realising it? Here's where you'd expect Hollywood's $200 million explosion. What if it wasn't violent enough to destroy the moon, but gentle enough to erase one? If that idea just gave you a small chill, that's usually the point people hit like, so future you can find this again. Right, here's how quietly vanish actually works. Because if the second moon didn't explode, didn't escape, and never hit Earth,
there's only one place left it could have gone. According to the double moon hypothesis, by the time the smaller moon caught up to the larger one, they weren't moving fast enough for a violent impact. Not slow enough to survive standing underneath, but slow enough that instead of a crater, you got an accretion. Think less bullet through a wall. Think two snowballs pressed together in slow motion. One loses its shape, neither disappears. They become one. The smaller moon didn't vanish. It became part of its bigger sibling, spreading its rocky material across one hemisphere, piling on the extra crust that later resisted lava, and left the far side looking like a different world entirely. This is sometimes called the Big Splat hypothesis, first modelled by planetary scientists Martin Jutzi and Eric Asfaug at UC Santa Cruz, using simulations of exactly this kind of slow-motion collision. And to be clear, this isn't settled science. Other researchers think the far side formed through internal heating, uneven cooling, or geological processes we still don't fully understand.
The giant impact that made the moon in the first place is rock-solid, well-supported science. Whether a second moon merged into it afterwards is still an open argument. Very politely, mind you, they're scientists. Which would mean the second moon never really disappeared. It's still up there. You've just been looking at it your whole life without knowing it. There's one more character in this story. A small asteroid called Kamoʻoalewa. Not a moon exactly, but a quasi-satellite. Discovered in 2016, it loops the Sun on almost exactly Earth's own orbit, sometimes trailing behind us, sometimes creeping ahead, like it can never quite catch up. In 2021, scientists studying its reflected light noticed something odd. It matched space-weathered lunar rock far better than any known asteroid. A few years later, researchers went further, proposing it could be debris from one specific ancient lunar impact, the one that carved out the Giordano Bruno crater on the moon's far side, sometime in the last 10 million years. A tiny surviving piece of everything we've just talked about.
Except, and this is still unfolding, that answer may already be wrong. Earlier this month, a Chinese spacecraft called Tianwen 2 arrived at Kamoʻoalewa and took the first close-up photograph ever captured of it. It turned out smaller than expected, barely 20 meters across, and reflecting far more sunlight than actual moon rock ever would. New James Webb Telescope data agrees. Less like lunar dust, more like an ordinary stony asteroid. Which means the mystery didn't close. It just grew a sequel. We won't know for certain until Tianwen 2 physically grabs a sample and brings it home, a capsule drop planned for late 2027. So even the last clue in this story is still being argued over, live, right now. Every night, the moon rises exactly like it always has. Familiar, ordinary, one of the few things that feels like it's always been there. But maybe that's just the final chapter talking. Maybe, for a brief moment, Earth had 2 moons in its sky, until gravity quietly finished what a giant impact started. Not with an explosion, with a slow embrace that may have left its fingerprint on the moon forever. Will we ever know for sure? Maybe. Future lunar missions, better simulations, and a rock currently sitting millions of kilometers away, waiting to be sampled, might all have a say. The strange part isn't that Earth once had 2 moons. It's that we still can't fully see that history just by looking up. The moon looks whole, finished, like it was always meant to be exactly this shape. But one side of it may be quietly wearing the remains of a smaller world that used to share its orbit and its sky. So next time you look up, mate, you're probably not looking at Earth's only companion. You're looking at the last survivor of a family that once had 2. One that made it. And one that became part of it, silently, for 4.5 billion years. And that is the weird part. If you enjoyed this one, you'll probably enjoy The Planet That Died So You Could Exist too. It's the story of how the moon got here in the first place. And if you want more of these, subscribe, because the universe has been keeping secrets for billions of years, and we're only just learning how to ask the right questions.